Did I ever tell you guys a story when I worked in Pioneer Square? Never? I've never told you this? Jeez Louise, I thought I told you this already. All right, so I was 19
It's the all-new Jake and Spike show.
You're right. You're right. I was 19 years old. I used to play a lot of cards. That was a thing that I enjoyed doing a lot.
Okay.
And I lost pretty badly one time to, and I used to play with some older people who had more money. And so I'm playing with these guys, and one of these guys, in a very kind of mysterious, strange way, and I probably should have been clued into this, but I was a very naive, very earnest 19-year-old.
Yeah, innocent.
Yeah, I just loved
guy
it.
from the county.
I'm just a farm kid who loves to gamble. and so this guy hands me. He goes, if you want to make some extra money, you talk to this friend of mine. He runs a private eye. He's a private eye down in Pioneer Square in Seattle, and he want to make some money. He's always looking for people to come and help him out. And so I was like, yeah, it sounds fun. This is a cool thing to do. And at this point, I was already working during the Seattle Sonics season for the Seattle Sonics as a ball boy.
Right.
I was the last 2 years of high school and first 2 years of college. I was working for the Sonics, but it was off season, right? Yeah. And so I didn't have that money coming in, and so I'm just trying to scrape together a couple bucks, playing cards as much as I could, and doing other things too. But cards was a big part. And so this guy hands me this card. He goes, "Go talk to my friend. His name is," and listen to this name, it's perfect. His name is Patty Calabrese, and Pascal is his first name. His nickname is Patty Calabrese.
Please.
Yeah, just perfect.
And you didn't think anything?
I didn't think anything of it. I went, "Oh, great, that sounds cool." And again, this is in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
There's no like easy internet access, so people are not constantly. If I had a suspicious name or whatever, even not suspicious, just a normal person, I would instantly be able to find them on LinkedIn. I'd instantly be able to find the business on whatever and verify that these are people that you want to, work with or put yourself out there to be around. So I'm 19 years old, and I don't have much experience in Pioneer Square at this point. I drive down there, and I find some parking, and I look up at this old, it's straight out of a movie. This is just a perfect Pioneer Square building. It's got the old-fashioned brick.
Stoneworks, like beautiful,
brick stoneworks. And in the corner of this one window, just like a loft window, like, those big, half-circular loft arch windows, there is an all-seeing eye sign. And it is the private eye place. It's the office of this guy. And I went, "Oh, cool." And I'm like, and I'm a huge fan of movies. And so I'm thinking to myself, like, "Oh, this is kind of neat. It's like Chinatown or something. Like, this would be fun."
Yeah.
So I go down and I go into this building and I walk up the stairs and I go to the door and I knock on the door. The guy can't answer the door for some reason. He goes, "Yeah, come on in." He kind of gives me a shout. And I walk in, and it is the coolest building I'd ever been in. I mean, like, really just perfect old school Seattle. Like I mentioned, those big, giant, arched half windows that look out over Pioneer Square. You know what I'm talking about, Laura?
That's exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Okay. He's sitting there at his desk in front of these giant windows. And he's got this long handlebar mustache, and he's got this long gray hair tied up in like kind of a weird half pony. He's like a little bald on top, but like half pony, like a lot of hair. And he's got a cane, and he's got a leg up on the desk.
Okay.
In a cast.
Okay.
With a suspicious wound that looks like a gunshot. I don't know what it is, but it looks like a gunshot. And he says, "So I hear you want to make some money, kid." And I said, "Yeah, I'd love to, sir." And I look young now. I'm 40. I look young now. Imagine me at 19. I look like I'm 9 years old. And so I walk up to this guy, sit down across from this guy, and he's got pictures all over the wall of the people that he has worked for. And this is way before people could fake these things.
Okay.
And he's got pictures of him and Muhammad Ali. He's got pictures of him and Paul McCartney, Bill Clinton, any famous person who had ever come through Seattle hired him to do legwork on any suspicious people that might be in town.
Wow, like a preventive security
like
kind
a preventive
of
security guy.
Wow.
Exactly. And he's got pictures with all them, and it's pretty fascinating. I'm just like, whoa, who is this guy? Never met anybody like this in my life. I'm like, this is a very interesting guy. And so he goes, "All right, here's what I want you to do. I'm going to pay you cash," which is great. I knew it was going to be cash. "I'm going to pay you cash, and what I want you to do is, because you look so young, nobody's going to suspect you. I want you," and he had a heavy New York accent, like heavy New York accent. And he goes, "What I want you to do is follow these people around. I'll give you and this is not a joke. I'm not making this up. He literally would give me a 9x12, whatever the big manila envelopes.
Yeah.
He's like, "I'm going to give you this manila envelope." He goes, it'll have a name, and it'll have an address, and there'll be a disposable camera in there. I want you to follow these people around, take the whole roll, take the pictures, and I'm going to pay you $50 an hour to go follow these people," which was fantastic money.
Seriously?
Yeah, great. And so I would follow these people for like 4 hours. I'd never been a private eye before. I didn't know what you were supposed to do. I had to learn how to tail people in cars. He gives me his card. He goes, if any cop has a problem with you, you just give him this and Patty will get you out of it. It's no problem. I'll take care of it. He goes, they all know me. You're going to be fine. And I'm like, okay, that sounds great.
This is great.
And so I get my first assignment. He hands me a thing right there. He goes over this big safe. It's got guns in it and stuff. And he comes back over with this. He pops it. He goes, I use one of these cameras. I said, yeah, I know. I use a disposable camera. I think I could ratchet and click.
Yeah.
And so he gives me this thing, and the first person I have to go follow is somebody over in Bellevue that a husband says, and this is the dirty secret about private eyes. Mostly it's jealous husbands who suspect that their wives are cheating.
Follow my wife
on them.
around.
Yeah, follow my wife around, which was very creepy, and I felt really weird doing it. But I was like, I'm doing a job. Somebody's got to do this job. So I followed this lady around for 4 hours in my car, taking pictures of the different places that she's going. And at one point, she goes into like it's the middle of the day, One point she and I actually thought I was worried that I would lose the person in a tail. So I split the money with one of my. I didn't tell Patty about this, but I split the money with one of my buddies. I said, hey, why don't you come with me? You get in your car, I'll get in my car, and we really leaned into it. And I was like, we can tail the person. And we can switch on and off, and that way they're never going to pick up on us.
Sure.
Not like they would have picked up on children following them.
Perfect sense.
Doesn't it?
Yes.
Perfect sense. So we're following this lady, and we get to a Toys R Us in Bellevue. Remember the Toys R Us that used to be in Bellevue?
Yeah.
She goes in, and I'm walking by there, and what a creepy, weird thing to do. I walk in with a camera in my jacket, and I'm following this lady around.
Those were simpler times.
Simpler
Jake.
times. And nobody cared. Nobody even thought twice about it. And they probably assumed, right, because I look young, they thought, this small child's going into Toys R Us because he's interested in toys. And what I was actually doing is taking pictures of this lady for this private eye guy. So I end up doing this job, and then I do a few others. And like maybe a couple months into it, I was talking with my parents about it, because I have good parents and they love me. I don't know why I didn't have a problem up until the first 2 months, but after a few months, I was talking about it with my dad, and I was like, I feel kind of weird doing this job. And my dad goes, well, you don't have to keep doing it. You could stop because it is kind of creepy. And I said, well, I know, but it's very interesting work. It pays well.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of weird parts of society I didn't think I would see.
Sure, you're broadening your horizons. Yeah.
I would get bonused if I actually caught the person, taking pictures of them with somebody else. Felt like a cool opportunity for a young 19-year-old who's just like kind of looking to make his way in the world, And again, poker wasn't going great at the time, so I needed the extra money. So my dad convinces me that I should walk away. Okay. Very smart. Thank you, Dad. Yeah. So I walk away, right? I leave and I tell Patty, I'm like, hey, Patty, I got to focus. I told him I got to focus on school because I don't know, I'm getting a sense about the guy, and I'm just like, I don't know if I want to upset this guy.
Sure.
He never gave me any indication that he was going to do anything, but I just thought he seems like a very interesting dude.
Yeah, he does.
And I don't know much about him because it's the early 2000s before the internet.
And so, you don't want to get into a one last job situation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Come on, kid. The money on this one's going to set you up for a week.
Walk away forever.
Yeah, walk away. He just keeps pulling me back in. So I leave the job, and I don't think anything of it for a few years. And then around 2007, I don't know what happened. 2007, he ends up passing away. Maybe that was it. But I hear that he ends up passing away, and so I read the obituary about this guy. This guy that I was working for, that I'm sitting across, who I was having like late night meetings with, where he's telling me to go tail people, is the original, not joking, the original guy, the first guy in the United States to ever be moved for witness protection. In the 1960s, he was a mob informant. He was a gunman who got picked up and caught because he was trying to impress and steal things for the Buffalo mob. He then flips on those guys, and he rats them out, some very dangerous guys. And so the U.S. government steps in and says, hey, we'd actually like to talk to you about the Buffalo mob. You're in jail. We're going to keep talking to you, and we're going to prosecute you for this crime unless you help us go against the mob. In return for your help, we will relocate you and your girlfriend and her kids, and we'll move you out of state. So he becomes the original witness protection guy. His name is Pascal Calabrese. You can look him up. He then moves to witness protection. I think he ends up going to Arizona or something like that. A few years into it, he starts getting kind of itchy. You know, like you watch at the end of Goodfellas, where Ray Liotta's talking to the camera. Henry Hill's just like in this boring neighborhood, and he's just like, yeah, this sucks. Like I want the excitement of this fun thing. And so he ends up coming out of hiding and writing a tell-all book called Hiding in Plain Sight, which then gets turned into a movie starring James Caan, which then kind of like leads to bigger things for this Patty guy. So he ends up opening this this private eye business, detective agency.
And young Jake Skorheim.
But the thing is, this guy was like, went against the mob. So if they had decided at any time that they wanted to find this guy, he's in the yellow pages.
Hey, Patty, this package was downstairs.
Here's something for you. And thank God that, I mean, like, nothing ever happened, but like, thank God my parents got me out of there and gave me the good advice. So I guess the lesson to the kids is like, it's fun to try things, but it's also fun to like listen to your parents.
Yeah, and Pioneer Square can be dangerous.
Pioneer Square can be dangerous. It's not just crazy people stabbing you in the head. It could also be like a job that you probably shouldn't take.
Working for an ex-mob informant who's got you tailing people for cash.
Isn't that crazy,
That's
though?
awesome. What a great story.
Unbelievable.